Did you plan this trip on Oahu to try and kill your wife?
No.
Were you trying to do something nice for her birthday?
Yes.
Deliberations are underway right now. In the case of a Hawaii doctor, he's accused of trying to murder his wife on vacation. The couple had a violent confrontation during a hike on the island last year. Ariel Konig testified that her husband grabbed her, moved her towards the edge of a cliff, and then hit her on the head with a rock several times. The defendant denied trying to push her off the cliff and told jurors he hit his wife in self-defense.
He grabbed me really forcefully by my upper arms, and he said, "I'm so sick of this. Get back over there." And he starts pushing me back towards the cliff. And so I had this moment where I was like, okay, this is the break, like I can get out. And then he just starts hitting me with a rock.
She keeps yelling, and she kind of grabs my wrists and throws herself on the ground and pulls me down with her.
Then you felt you got hit with the rock.
Yes.
Where'd you get hit?
On the left side of my face.
Jurors were shown graphic police body cam footage of first responders trying to help her. Prosecutors say the defendant spent 8 hours hiding on the mountain, tried to run when he was confronted by police. Konig pleaded not guilty. So here now is trial attorney Brian Claypool. Brian, this story is breathtaking, absolutely breathtaking. Just your take on the case so far and the different testimonies that you've heard.
Yeah, hey, Elizabeth, nice to see you. Yeah, look, this is a unique case. You've got a husband and wife to start with that are involved in this altercation, and then you've got both of them saying pretty much the same thing, that, you know, he's saying she attacked first, she's saying he attacked first. And really, Elizabeth, there isn't an eyewitness to the start of the altercation, right? We know that some people came by and they saw the two in the middle of the fight, but nobody really witnessed what started. Why is that important? Because in a case like this, then you've got to start looking at other things, like what was the physical evidence? We have some physical evidence here that's really important. What's that? That's the rock, right? The rock that was used in the altercation. And it shows blood from Ariel, not Gerhardt, right? So the blood on the rock is from her. That's important because that suggests that he used the rock to hit her, and he wasn't acting in self-defense. What else do you have to look at here? You've got to look at what's called circumstantial evidence. What do I mean by that? Well, there are two things here that I think are really important. One is the phone call, right? He makes a phone call after this happened to his stepson. Stepson testifies in this case, Elizabeth, that he said that he tried to kill his wife. That's going to be crucial to the jury. And then the second piece of circumstantial evidence, I think it's real important here, you just said it, was he went and hid for 8 hours. That's important because it also shows a consciousness of guilt, Elizabeth.
Well, so you have the prosecution who essentially say that this was planned, right? He had a plan, maybe even a backup plan to kill his wife that day. The defense says that Ariel had these statements that have been inconsistent. So they're claiming that he said, she said. I want to play two pieces of their closing arguments and then get your reaction. Listen.
Plan A, the push. The intent was to kill. When Plan A didn't work, the defendant moved on to Plan B. Plan B, inject her with the syringe, knock her out, push her off the cliff. The intent behind Plan B was to kill. Plan C, when the first two plans didn't work, beat her with the rock, knock her out, drag her over, or just simply kill her outright.
The point is, ladies and gentlemen, when it's your burden of proof, it's this high, and it is she said, he said, better not have examples of many times where she was deceptive to the police and to you. The bottom line is Ariel Konig is not reliable.
I mean, you brought up a number of pieces of evidence that it's not just he said, she said.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what the defense is saying here, let's talk about what the defense is. They've got one piece of circumstantial evidence that helps their case, and that is the syringe. Remember, we talked about that? Mm-hmm. He said that he used a syringe to try to inject her and push her over the cliff. Nobody ever found the syringe. So that's important because it places some doubt in the mind of the jury that he did use a syringe. But back to your point, the physical evidence here of her DNA and blood on the rock is powerful. And then we've got to talk about one other thing here, right? And that is there's intentional murder in Hawaii, right? And if you get convicted of that, it's life in prison with the possibility of parole. But I think what this case is going to boil down to, and I think what the jury is going to do likely, is they're going to find what's called a mitigating charge. That is attempted murder by manslaughter. What's the difference? Well, in Hawaii, Elizabeth, they have what's called a mitigating factor or defense, where there's an emotional disturbance by the person that committed the crime. I think that really applies here, and I think that's what the jury's going to do. I think they're going to be hung up on, did he intend to kill her and push her over the cliff, or did he go through an emotional outbreak because they were talking about her allegedly having this affair? She said it was an emotional affair, not physical. But here, that created an emotional outbreak by him where he did try to allegedly push her over the cliff. And I think, look, at the end of the day, I think the jury is going to find guilt based on this mitigating charge, which is attempted manslaughter.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I wish we had more time to talk more about motive. Brian Claypool, I really appreciate your insight. Thank you for joining us today.
Beth, thanks for having me.